Hello there. I'm Timothy Linsdau. I'm a video producer and a Christian, but I like to know some science history. I like science in general. And today I read something about the amazing story of a four-legged whale that lived in Peru 43 million years ago. Okay, apparently what they've discovered here is a new species of ancient whale ancestor. It's been identified from a fossilized skeleton found in Peru. Apparently this is the first time they've found anything like this on the Pacific side of the world. And they call it a Paragositas pacificus. Okay, there you go. Four-legged whale. That's interesting. They said the skeleton was discovered in marine sediments at Playa Media Luna on the southern coast of Peru. It was analyzed by Dr. Lambert of the Royal Belgian Institute of Natural Sciences. They say this is the first indisputable record of a quadrupedal whale skeleton for the whole Pacific Ocean. Woo! For the whole Pacific Ocean, the largest ocean in the world. That covers a lot of space. Probably the oldest for the Americas, is the most complete outside of India and Pakistan, Dr. Lambert has said. Now, anatomical details of the skeleton allowed the paleontologists to infer that the animal was capable of maneuvering its large body. Now, apparently it measured about 12 to 13 feet. Now, that would be a pretty decent sized crocodile. And the pictures I've seen here, it's not too far off from looking like a crocodile. I'm not sure what they call a whale, but they give some evidences with vertebra, this type of thing. Teeth, it would be a toothed whale. It had pretty serious teeth. Some look like shark's teeth. Now, but there are some things that make it somewhat relatable to beavers and otters, suggesting a significant contribution of their tail in swimming. Is the best rendition that they can give is the tail is like a fin, not like a beaver's, but more like a fish tail, but comparable. Has the presence of small hooves at the tip of the whale's fingers and toes, and its hips and limbs morphology all suggest that the whale could walk on land. Well, I guess one of the questions I would ask is, isn't it possible then that we could call beavers and otters whales? Because they're comparing caudal vertebra in the tail from this large fossil to beavers and otters as part of it. Now, beavers and otters, they've got tails they use and webbed feet to work around in the water, but I don't think you're going to call them a whale. On the other hand, anatomical features of the tail and feet, including long, likely webbed appendages, likely. Now, that's a very important word here, and that's one of the struggles in the science of evolution and fossil research, is you're making a guess at a lot of things. And here they're making a guess, likely webbed appendages. As they say, similar to an otter, indicated it was a good swimmer. Well, that may very well be that it could swim well. Its presence on the western coast of South America strongly support the hypothesis that the early cetaceans reached the New World across the South Pacific from the western coast of Africa to South America. That's interesting because it's been years of arguments since Thor Heyerdahl made his trek to try to prove crossings across the Pacific from one continent to the other. I think the thing to me that I always have to bring up this thought, it's pretty well accepted and understood that once there was a giant continent of all landmass in one place. And if you take all the continents today and push them together, they kind of match up. There's some proof that all of this broke up and spread around the earth. And the stories of the great flood in the Bible is kind of an interesting thought, that there was this huge, catastrophic, earth-changing event that took place that spread the continents apart. So if they were once all together and these animals came about, they easily could have moved around that whole thing. So when this all split up, couldn't they have carried those animals? And if they carried those animals, they didn't necessarily have to be a problem of how they got from one place to the other. So there's the thought. So how they moved around, I suppose, could be in question. So anyway, there's a little bit of news about this so-called discovery of a whale that could walk on land and swim in the sea. So, kind of interesting. But I'd like to ask a lot of questions because there's a lot of, I hate to say the word guessing in science of evolution. One of the problems that makes it so difficult is there are really no decent transitional fossils. Going from this species to that species. And everything we know today, they're saying, went from this thing to this thing. They also, with whales, they say that some dog-like sized creature that evolved and eventually went into the water. I thought it was commonly understood that everything was coming out of the water. So I always it seems kind of odd about going back. But I don't know. Suppose you figure in the water you got more food, but you got more competition too. So the fossil, being amphibious, from what we can tell, that's more like amphibian or a lizard-type creature, which just doesn't really show that it's that. That it easily could have been a land animal, like a crocodile. I mean, it's in and out of the water. And it has a lot the same look to it. So why it's a whale, I'm a little short on understanding that. Of course, whales, such as the blue whale, the largest animal that we know of to ever exist, up to 100 feet in length. Now that's a baleen whale, which means it's a filter feeder. This thing that they discovered is a toothed whale. Most common, well, there's a number of common toothed whales, but the sperm whale is one in particular. That is a toothed whale, and from what we best understand, best fed on, its favorite prey were giant squids. I suppose it still is. Hasn't changed much. But that's the difference between toothed and filter or baleen whales. This one would have to be a toothed whale because it's got teeth. Well, let's see. Researchers in evolution have not yet reached consensus on any fossil or living creatures having intermediate features between a whale and a land creature. And that takes me back to my concern about this science. Is there's no incremental steps. I mean, they're finding what they call missing links, but you've got to have hundreds, thousands of these links for each species that exists today, don't you? Doesn't that make sense? And if you had thousands and thousands, a million different species. I mean, you're going to have millions of transitions. That's what's so odd to me. When you go searching around for fossils, you just can't find these. I don't know, it just doesn't quite make any sense. So, now, there were some things about their little hooves and their, I don't even know what that means, hooves on their fingers. It was probably a tougher, like a nail, which is what a horse hoof is like. It's like a nail, that's why they can trim it and shoe it without hurting the horse, of course, as long as they're careful. This particular skeleton they found, there was a lot of times when they find fossils, it's just bits and pieces. Now this, they were able to put the lower jaw together, some of the flippers or whatever they might be, feet, and then a lot of it's, they have to pretty much guess on what they know from present biology about the construction of species. The features of the fossil supposedly indicate a whale ancestry or minor similarities to other so-called pre-whale fossils called protocetids. Did I get that right? Sorry about that if I screwed up that. Fossils in the evolutionary category were not pre-whales. Instead, they were even less aquatic and looked canine-like. Yeah, okay. I think it just really comes down to, check out that article in SCI News, SCI News, and gives you an overview of what they found. You can get much deeper, I'm sure, in the references to the biological academic descriptions of what they found. But I would like to bring up those questions that it's a lot of woulda, coulda, shoulda, maybe stuff, because it's just not, you don't have all those links, and you have partial bits of bone, so you're kind of guessing at things. And science needs to have some definites, some concretes, and I think scientists should really give that some thought, because it's a lot of food for argument as to where everything came from. So I'm putting on my science cap today and enjoying that. So Timothy Linsdau, like and comment on my video, subscribe to my channel. We'll talk more about this kind of stuff as time goes on. Thanks a lot and have a great day.